Hey, welcome to the Jerletha McDonald Show, where we discuss everything childcare and provide a platform for early educators to shine. I'm your host, Jerletha McDonald, and I have been celebrating Black early childhood educators from across the United States, and I am celebrating Joy Maxwell today. Joy Maxwell is an early childhood educator and entrepreneur, mother, wife, and ministry. She does it all. She's also a professor as well. But I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself. Hey, Joy, how are you doing? And welcome to the Jerletha McDonald Show. And also, you guys, Joy is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Hi, Jerletha. Yes, I am Joy Maxwell from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection.
Yes. I have to visit one day. That's a city I never went to yet. I've never been. So I'm going to
come and visit us. Give me a call. I will take you to get the cheesesteak and a pretzel and the water ice, all the Philly favorites.
Yes, and I love to eat. So if you feed me, I'm good. I'm good. So, okay, Joy. So tell us about yourself and why did you get into the field of early care and education?
Okay, so like Jerletha said, I'm Joy Maxwell from Philly. I own childcare facilities, Open Arms Early Learning and Development Center here in Philadelphia. And I also have a consultant agency called The Joy of Childcare, where I help childcare providers keep joy in what they're doing. I started in early childhood education because I was told that I shouldn't be in early childhood education. To my she was my advisor at the time for school when I was picking my course of study for college, and I chose early childhood education. And she said, no, Joy, you want to teach education. You want to work, in elementary school or a middle school. You don't want to work in a daycare, Joy. And I mean, like, this is her facial expression. This was how she was talking to me. And I was like, you sure? Because she's my, she was who I was thinking knew she was talking about. So I went with her. So I took up elementary education, and I started teaching in first grade. They moved me up to third grade. Then they asked me to loop with those students and move me up to fourth grade. And I was teaching, and I was stressed out. I was overwhelmed, and the kids lacked so much foundational knowledge that it made me sad. I was trying to teach, but I had hungry kids in my class that I had to go in the back of my class to make oatmeal for. And on my lunch break, the little girl who lived with her grandmom who had arthritis, I was braiding her hair for her grandmom because grandmom couldn't do it. And so I found myself doing a lot of social work. I found myself doing a lot of advocacy. I found myself doing a lot of, fighting for children who needed a warrior. They needed somebody to show up for them. And so I knew that I was still supposed to be in education, but I knew I could not stay there because I had to go back and help at the basic level first. And so I left. I retired from teaching in 2014, and I opened my first center in my home, and I never looked back.
Yeah, and so you started as a family home provider. Could you tell us a little bit about that? So I get excited because that's my field. That's what I do, family home childcare. So why did you decide to make the move from your family childcare center to a childcare facility?
One of the major reasons why I decided to move from our home to a commercial property was because I had limitations in my home. Yes, it was convenient. I used to get up, take my shower, put on my sweatpants and my cute little arm t-shirt and go right downstairs. My staff at that time was my mom, and she was already at my house. She had put on coffee. We were starting breakfast. The kids were coming in. I loved it. However, in Philadelphia, you can only have 6 children at any given time, even including the children in your own home. And at that time, I had 2 sons and I was pregnant. So I was
so you already eating up half your ratio anyway.
I was like, no, this is not going to work. And so we looked for a commercial property. We found a group childcare facility. And because I was a little nervous, I really didn't trust my own abilities. I was like, well, I want to start small because small is safe. And small is safe, but if you already know you have it in you to play bigger, go bigger. So, that's a part of my story. That was my process. I loved my in-home. I loved my group childcare. But my two facilities that we have now, our commercial centers, is where I'm more needed, I will say, because my impact is a little greater. And so I was excited for the whole process, though. I've loved the whole process.
Yes, that's good, because I liked it when I know that a successful center owner, a multiple center owner, right? You own multiple centers, came from a family childcare home. I would love for you to share a little bit more in depth with that, because there are a lot of family home childcare providers who are doing great and wonderful and like to stay in their house. That's fine. But then there's some who are thinking about moving on or in the process of moving on to get a center. And I love to just, when I talk to center owners and directors, like to get little nuggets from you guys to pass on to the women in my network, or women that I train who are like, hey, I think I want to go on and open up a center. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And so, okay, so who in Black history inspired you and why?
So the person who inspired me is Maya Angelou. And the reason why I'm so inspired by Maya Angelou is that Maya Angelou had one of the voices that the nation needed. She served her purpose while she was here. And I'm sure that she is one of those people that went back empty. Les Brown says that the graveyard is the richest place because so many people die filled with so many gifts. And I'm sure Maya Angelou was one of those ones that were empty because she did so much. She was a humanitarian. She was a speaker. She was an advocate. She wrote great books. She wrote great poetry. She acted in wonderful movies. And Maya Angelou is a person, because her voice was so powerful to this world and to this nation, she was a person that was mute for over 2 years. For over 2 years, she did not speak. Why? Because of trauma. And we serve children like that. We serve children who go through trauma, and then we start seeing behaviors. Now, your behavior may look different than Maya Angelou's behavior, but it was still a behavior that was triggered because of a trauma. And so from her not speaking, she went through the process of somebody started working with her and talking to her. She went through that process of getting it out, because it was like what was in her had to come out.
Yes.
So she went through this trauma. She was, she was abused. She stopped speaking because the person who abused her, she told on them, and that person was hurt really bad. And she felt like, oh no, my voice, because I spoke up and told something, it hurt somebody. And even though he hurt her, she didn't want to reciprocate that hurt. And so she went mute. And so then for her to be that person that was mute for so long, overcame that, and then started speaking, and had so much impact and so much influence on the world from her voice.
And she still has that same impact, that same power, and that same influence. And like you said, when she passed away empty, because she gave everything that she had to the world, and it's still living on. And so
she made history in the process.
Yes. And so why is that? Why would you say that is so important to give everything you got, learn as much as we can? Why is that important to do something that you're passionate? Yeah, so that's what I should say. Why is that important to do a job that you love and you're passionate about, and that you do not mind getting up every morning to do?
I tell people all the time, especially my child care providers that I work with my coaching business, I tell them that we are the answer to someone else's prayer. We're the answer. And so if we live within our little limitations of fear or nervousness, or someone did this to me, someone did that to me, and we never move out of that comfort space and do what we're called to do, we miss an opportunity to serve. And you don't want to live like that. You should never want to live like, well, it's just about me. I'm not worried about other people. No, we all have a calling on our life. We all have somewhere to be and someone to help. Somewhere to be and someone to help. So I want to make sure that people know we have to live up to our calling. And so that's important for me. And that's what I teach.
Yes, that's very important. I brought that up because someone else that I interviewed, Miss Kelly Ramsey, the other day, she just said exactly what you said. And she said, our goals are attached to other people's goals. And what she meant by that. And so what we may be like say your consulting company, your goal is to help women build these businesses, not just in childcare, but whatever business they want to build, right? And they're knocking those goals out. And so once they knock those goals out, guess what? They're going to employ someone else. They may have someone coming up under them, or they have children, even more so important, watching them, right? And so as we are hitting and executing our goals, so are they. Like whatever goal that, like your goal to open up your childcare facility, a parent was praying, I need a safe, high quality childcare facility for my baby. When I go to work, I don't have to worry about it. Right? What advice would you give to a Black early childhood professional, one who's already in the field thinking about moving up the career ladder, or one who's thinking about getting into our field? What would you tell them?
The first thing I would tell them is don't despise small beginnings. Where you start is not necessarily where you will finish. And when you start small, realize that it is a process. And that once you go through the process, you'll get where you want to be. You'll get what your heart desires. So don't despise small beginnings.
Yes, don't despise small beginnings. And don't look at someone else's success and think that you're not living up to what you're supposed to do. That's different, right? We're all successful, and especially when we're operating in our calling and our gifts. But my success looks different from your success, and your success looks different from mine. But we are here to encourage and learn from each other. So that's what I like to tell women as well, too. So that is some great advice that you just shared with us.
And the other thing I tried to share with people is that my first job at a childcare facility actually was an after-school program. But my first job in childcare, aside from the one I had when I was in high school as an intern, was in 2001.
Oh wow!
It is 2021. So I know I'm young, but don't despise my year. You know, my year 20 is not going to look like your year 1. I've been doing this for 20 years.
There you go.
20 years.
20 years. And even more so, guys. So that's if you're thinking about starting a childcare facility, a family childcare home, or whatever, and you're in the Philadelphia area, please hook up with Joy. And she also, you don't even have to be in the Philadelphia area. No, she does it for travel.
Yes. Lisa knows I'm coming back to Dallas because we had some awesome food. We had some awesome massages. We went shopping. I'm coming back. So yes. We travel.
So make sure you check her out. I'll have all her information in the comment section where you can follow her pages and check her out, especially if you need consulting or if you need childcare and you're in her area. So I just want to say thank you, Joy, for coming on the show. I really enjoyed you. And thank you all for tuning in to the Jerletha McDonald Show, where we discuss everything childcare and provide a platform for early childhood educators to shine. See you later. Bye.
See you later, guys.
Thanks to our sponsors, Emblem Group and Daycare Time Solutions.